Episode 56 XK, September 2nd, 2024. Correction. UK wood-burning plant Drax fined $33. In episode 56 XK, 1 World, 2 United States, 3 California, 4 Nevada, and California, 5 Tennessee, and North Carolina. 6 Utah, 7 Wisconsin, 8 Brazil, 9 B United Kingdom. Correction. UK wood-burning plant Drax fined $33. In episode 56, the headline chosen by RAWSEP was episode 56, she August 30th, 2024. UK Drax wood-burning industry ordered to pay $25 million fine. RAWSEP did not use OANDA currency converter to change the 25 million UK Great British Pound fine to $33 million. RAWSEP regrets the error, but welcomes the opportunity to speak more to the reason that Drax was fined $33 million. Why was UK wood-burning plant Drax fined $33? RAWSEP View. This article makes clear that the breach of contract requirements between Drax and the UK government was not in polluting the air by wood burning, but in misleading the UK government on the source of its wood for burning. In reality, Drax was taking wood from protected Canadian forests rather than from what the government considers sustainable Canadian forest sources. RAWSEP View. Instead of this half measure of a fine, RAWSEP agrees with environmental groups and campaigners in their calls to end all subsidies for burning wood from forests and energy crops and power stations, and to not award energy companies any new support or contracts to do so. This would be comprehensive and real reform, and set an example to all in the UK that stopping wood burning will stop air pollution at the source, whether the wood used for burning is on the list of precious resources or not. Wood can be used for building houses and furniture rather than for burning. There are cleaner alternatives to wood burning in 2024, such as wind and solar powering a clean electrical grid that extends to all rural areas, powering heat pumps that work down to 40 degrees below zero, and which can double as air conditioners. 10 Latvia, 11 Africa, and Washington, D.C. RAWSEP View. Wood-burning stoves replaced other wood-burning stoves. What could go wrong? How about instead replacing wood-burning stoves with truly clean cookstoves such as solar stoves or electric stoves, or even liquid petroleum gas stoves, LPG stoves, which are at least marginally cleaner burning than wood-burning cookstoves? From the article, How a Cookstove Carbon Credit Plan Unraveled in Africa. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. The Washington Post particulate matter PM 2.5, which works its way deep into lungs. More than a decade ago, science clearly established that PM 2.5 needed to be. Most directly, Sequest failed to take steps to ensure that its clay and metal cookstoves were being widely used and working properly, critical to ensuring that the project was reducing greenhouse gas emissions and deforestation. From the second article on the subject, The Washington Post. How one company's plan to help the planet went off the rails. 12 Taiwan and Germany. RAWSEP View. The putative solution to PM 2.5 pollution put forward here is to plant trees, among other solutions, which are physical barriers to existing air pollution. This article calls these physical barriers such as vegetation. RAWSEP View. It is better not to burn wood in the first place, and therefore circumvent the predictable PM 2.5 air pollution of wood burning emitted to the air already overloaded with PM 2.5 pollution from traffic. 13 PM 2.5 and human health. Main content. 1 World. Wildfire recovery, essential health, and air quality precautions during a crisis. EIN News Various guidelines exist for acceptable levels of CO2 and PM 2.5. The World Health Organization recommends that the average concentration of PM 2.5 to a United States Environmental Management Assessment of air pollution removal by urban trees based on ResearchGate 2.5 489.4 tons for this work, considered 2 of the most common domestic air pollutants, particulate matter PM and carbon monoxide CO, RAWSEP View. A recent scientific study found that trees close their pores against absorption of PM 2.5 from wildfires, just as humans attempt to stop breathing or hold their breath when confronted with wildfire smoke. From that second article, New Discovery. Trees' response to wildfire smoke. In a surprising twist, some trees appear to hold their breath when faced with heavy smoke conditions. Researchers observed that ponderosa pines in particular dramatically reduce their gas exchange with the atmosphere during periods of intense smoke. August 9, 2024. Some trees hold their breath during wildfires. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. When wildfire smoke is in the air, some trees essentially shut their windows and doors and hold their breath. When wildfire smoke is in the air, doctors urge people to stay indoors to avoid breathing in harmful particles and gases. But what happens to trees and other plants that can't escape from the smoke? As atmospheric and chemical scientists, we study the air quality and ecological effects of wildfire smoke and other pollutants. In a study that started quite by accident when smoke overwhelmed our research site in Colorado, we were able to watch in real time how the leaves of living pine trees responded. Unlike humans, leaves breathe in and out at the same time, constantly taking in and releasing atmospheric gases. Clues from over a century of research. In the early 1900s, scientists studying trees in heavily polluted areas discovered that those chronically exposed to pollution from coal burning had black granules clogging the leaf pores through which plants breathe. They suspected that the substance in these granules was partly created by the trees, but due to the lack of available instruments at the time, the chemistry of those granules was never explored, nor were the effects on the plant's photosynthesis. For example, a study of multiple crop and wetland sites in California showed that smoke scatters light in a way that made plants more efficient at photosynthesis and growth. However, a lab study in which plants were exposed to artificial smoke found that plant productivity dropped during and after smoke exposure, though those plants did recover after a few hours. What makes smoke toxic even far from the fire? When wildfire smoke travels long distances, the smoke cooks in sunlight and chemically changes. Taken together, studies suggest that wildfire smoke interacts with plants, but in poorly understood ways. This lack of research is driven by the fact that studying smoke effects on the leaves of living plants in the wild is hard. Wildfires are hard to predict, and it can be unsafe to be in smoky conditions. Accidental research in the middle of a wildfire. We didn't set out to study plant responses to wildfire smoke. Instead, we were trying to understand how plants emit volatile organic compounds, the chemicals that make forests smell like a forest, but also impact air quality, and can even change clouds. Fall 2020 was a bad season for wildfires in the western U.S., and thick smoke came through a field site where we were working in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. On the first morning of heavy smoke, we did our usual test to measure leaf-level photosynthesis of ponderosa pines. We were surprised to discover that the tree's pores were completely closed and photosynthesis was nearly zero. We also measured the leaves' emissions of their usual volatile organic compounds and found very low readings. This meant that the leaves weren't breathing, they weren't inhaling the carbon dioxide they need to grow, and weren't exhaling the chemicals they usually release. With these unexpected results, we decided to try to force photosynthesis and see if we could defibrillate the leaf into its normal rhythm. By changing the leaf's temperature and humidity, we cleared the leaf's airways and saw a sudden improvement in photosynthesis and a burst of volatile organic compounds. What our months of data told us is that some plants respond to heavy bouts of wildfire smoke by shutting down their exchange with outside air. They are effectively holding their breath, but not before they have been exposed to the smoke. We hypothesize a few processes that could have caused leaves to close their pores. Smoke particles could coat the leaves, creating a layer that prevents the pores from opening. Smoke could also enter the leaves and clog their pores, keeping them sticky. Or the leaves could physically respond to the first signs of smoke and close their pores before they get the worst of it. RAWSEP View. Indoor residential wood burning produces the same emissions as wildfire smoke, including PM 2.5 and CO2. The United States government should, instead of certifying wood stoves as safe when they are not safe, go forward with regulations that ban wood stove use and direct government money for use of forest refuse only for home building and furniture building, for just a few examples of use of forest products for non-burning uses. This article in a wood burning industry magazine admits that wood burning is a substantial source of PM 2.5 emissions. Yet this article, since it is in a magazine that is an arm of the wood burning industry, states that this wood burning should continue, presumably because it is called renewable. Wood may be renewable in the sense that a tree can be planted in the place of a cut-down burned tree, but it takes centuries or decades for the newly planted tree to attain the stature of the cut-down burned tree. During those centuries or decades, photosynthesis, which converts CO2 to oxygen and so sequesters some carbon, will not take place at the same rate as photosynthesis was performed previously. And wood burning emits both CO2 and PM 2.5, and PM 2.5 is not absorbed by trees, so PM 2.5 is not diminished by planting a tree in the place of a cut-down and burned tree. Wood burning emits 90% PM 2.5 particulate matter of 2.5 micrometer size, the perfect size to infiltrate the human lungs, setting off a cascade of human health problems and early deaths. Contrary to many beliefs, wood burning emits 2.8 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel coal burning, and wood burning emits 450 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel natural gas burning. Replacing coal burning with wood burning creates more air pollution in the form of CO2 and PM 2.5 than coal burning. This emission data comes from testing the cleanest burning wood stove in the United Kingdom, the eco-design wood stove. An international convention does not count the emissions from wood burning. The emissions from wood burning are erased from all countries around the world when calculating if each country has met its climate goals. This non-counting or erasure of wood burning emissions data from climate goals does not mean wood burning emissions do not exist. From the original article stating that planting trees improves air quality. RAWSEP View. This article should be taken with a grain of salt provided by the study that shows that trees close their pores to wildfire smoke, just like humans attempt to hold their breath when confronted by wildfire wood burning smoke, or just like humans attempt to hold their breath when confronted with indoor residential wood burning smoke. Just because PM 2.5 can be deposited on trees as a film which is not absorbed does not mean that trees are any better than, say, a blanket on the floor of the forest which PM 2.5 falls on. PM 2.5 from wood burning is still in the air near where wood burning occurs, and PM 2.5 in the air can be inhaled by humans with predictably negative effect for the human's health and with predictably negative effects for the plant, because PM 2.5 along with CO2 hastens climate change and feeds the feedback loop of climate change, causing wildfires. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. The annual PM deposited on the leaves, trunk, and branches of an average urban tree was calculated to be 78.60 g/tree. Trees were estimated to improve air quality at 1.5 m, 10 m, and 1719 m from ground level by 25.8%, 5.8%, and 0.1% respectively. 2B United States. RAWSEP View. RAWSEP wishes that the term fossil fuel be followed by, and wood burning fuels are a health hazard as they are. RAWSEP wishes the death statistics from indoor residential wood burning were as widely disseminated as the death statistics from fossil fuel burning. From the article, Fossil Fuels Are a Health Hazard MJ, in site excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Of these deaths, 58% were due to particulate matter of 2.5 micrometer size PM 2.5, the most readily measurable pollutant from fossil fuel production, and 6% were 3 California. Update: Bailey Fire burns 2.5 acres. Fresno B. Bailey Fire initially started today at 1:30 p.m. in Siskiyou County, California. It has burned 2.5 acres of private land, an increase of 2 acres for Nevada and California. RAWSEP View. When funding by billionaires, Burning Man needs no help to survive financially. The question should be how to stop Burning Man from happening again. Burning Man promotion of wood burning for recreation is irresponsible in the face of continuing wildfires threatening the health, lives, and property of humans in Nevada and its surroundings, not to mention hastening climate change, which affects the whole world. Just as one individual deciding not to burn wood recreationally indoors residentially, every stoppage of wood burning can incrementally help clear out air. From the article, excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. How to Save Burning Man from Itself. San Francisco Chronicle. Burning Man started in 1986 as a small gathering on Baker Beach where Larry Harvey and Jerry James built effigies of a man and dog out of scrap wood. 5 Tennessee and North Carolina. RAWSEP View from Wikipedia. The Great Smoky Mountains are a mountain range rising along the Tennessee-North Carolina border in the southeastern United States. From the article. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Crews battling wildfire in the Smokies. MSN, a wildland fire reported on Monday, has led to road trail and campsite closures, as well as aerial support from multiple agencies in the Great 6 Utah Salt Lake City. RAWSEP View. This publication is irresponsibly promoting a nostalgic look past to wood burning days when lives were shortened by exposure to PM 2.5 from indoor residential wood burning. We have alternatives today, such as heat pumps that work down to 40 degrees below zero and double as air conditioners. From the article. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Wagon Days parade a homecoming for some Ion Sun Valley. Page Allen grew up in the Wood River Valley, but now lives in Salt Lake City. Smoke from the fire settled in the Wood River Valley on Thursday, 7 Wisconsin. RAWSEP View. Along with creosote buildup in chimneys from indoor residential wood burning harms human health and hastens climate change. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Dryer lint led to holiday motel fire in Portage. Officials say MSN, smoke rising from the structure. Fire officials. What is creosote, and should wood burning stove owners be scared of it? Notes Brasil Brasileiro. RAWSEP View. It is ironic that a headline in Brazil states the harm from wood burning wildfires, but in the same publication baking bread with wood burning is promoted. This is irresponsible. Instead, this publication should be publicizing replace of wood burning with clean cooking methods, such as solar stoves or electric stoves. The solutions to air pollution from indoor residential wood burning are there. Irresponsible advertisers of wood burning seem to be calling the tune in this publication. The carbon smears on bread resemble the dirt found on a restaurant floor. Use of a variety of seasonings would better please the palate of bread eaters, rather than the streaks of black carbon from random polluting PM 2.5 particles found when wood burning. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. From the article. Brazil's capital covered in smoke from wildfires. YouTube burning that's going on in Sao Paulo. This is very bad for nature for traditional lavash bread, baking bread on a barrel over wood fire. 9A United Kingdom, Brighton and Hove. RAWSEP View. Along with spreading elm tree disease through transportation of infected wood for burning indoor residential, wood burning harms human health and hastens climate change. From the article. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Public awareness needed to protect elm trees in Brighton and Hove. More radio. He also spoke about infected wood being brought here as fuel for wood burning stoves. He said, "What we are trying to do is stop the selling of 9B United Kingdom." Correction. UK wood burning plant Drax fined $33. In episode 56, the headline chosen by RAWSEP was episode 56, she August 30th, 2024. UK Drax wood burning industry ordered to pay $25 million fine. RAWSEP did not use OANDA currency converter to change the 25 million UK Great British Pound fine to $33 million. RAWSEP regrets the error, but welcomes the opportunity to speak more to the reason that Drax was fined $33 million. Why was UK wood burning plant Drax fined $33? RAWSEP View. This article makes clear that the breach of contract requirements between Drax and the UK government was not in polluting the air by wood burning, but in misleading the UK government on the source of its wood for burning. In reality, Drax was taking wood from protected Canadian forests rather than from what the government considers sustainable Canadian forest sources. RAWSEP View. Instead of this half measure of a fine, RAWSEP agrees with environmental groups and campaigners in their calls to end all subsidies for burning wood from forests and energy crops and power stations, and to not award energy companies any new support or contracts to do so. This would be comprehensive and real reform, and set an example to all in the UK that stopping wood burning will stop air pollution at the source, whether the wood used for burning is on the list of precious resources or not. Wood could be used for building houses and furniture rather than for burning. There are cleaner alternatives to wood burning 2024, such as wind and solar powering a clean electrical grid that extends to all rural areas, powering heat pumps that work down to 40 degrees below zero, and which can double as air conditioners. From the article. Drax to pay £25 million penalty for data reporting breach after wood burning probe. Power station operator Drax has agreed to pay a £25 million penalty after the energy watchdog found it failed to report accurate data on the sourcing of wood pellets it burned at its North Yorkshire plant. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. It comes after Drax was accused of burning wood from unsustainable sources, as well as claims that it was taking timber from precious rare forests in Canada. The regulator said in May last year that it was looking at whether Drax was in breach of annual profiling reporting requirements relating to the Renewables Obligation Scheme, as well as other related matters. Drax, which runs Britain's biggest power station in North Yorkshire, receives hefty government subsidies for burning biomass wood chips. There have been growing calls from environmental groups and campaigners to end all subsidies for burning wood from forests and energy crops and power stations, and to not award energy companies any new support or contracts to do so. Desmit Latvia. Report Latvian cities have fair and moderate air quality. Reliable news from Latvia. LSM cities are ranked from the cleanest city to the most polluted based on average concentration levels of fine particulate matter, or PM 2.5 over the 11 Africa and Washington, D.C. RAWSEP View. Wood burning stoves replaced other wood burning stoves. What could go wrong? How about instead replacing wood-burning stoves with truly clean cookstoves such as solar stoves or electric stoves, or even liquid petroleum gas stoves (LPG) stoves, which are at least marginally cleaner burning than wood-burning cookstoves? From the article, How a Cookstove Carbon Credit Plan Unraveled in Africa. Excerpts. Edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates of 501c3 nonprofit organization. The Washington Post particulate matter PM 2.5, which works its way deep into lungs. More than a decade ago, science clearly established that PM 2.5 needed to be. Most directly Sequest failed to take steps to ensure that its clay and metal cookstoves were being widely used and working properly, critical to ensuring that the project was reducing greenhouse gas emissions and deforestation. From the second article on the subject, The Washington Post, How one company's plan to help the planet went off the rails. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates of 501c3 nonprofit organization. Sanso Mathemba, Mozambique. The simple stoves were being shipped out across Africa by the millions, and few people here saw the downside. The stoves were free. They were pitched as an upgrade to the charcoal grill and wood campfire cooking methods in the area. And they promised solutions to the massive problems of deforestation and smoke pollution. But as the stoves were handed out in this part of Mozambique in 2021, a Mozambique woman said she was struck by how cheap they looked, just a few metal parts atop, clay bricks, and mud. When she used it at her home, filled with smoke, and her eyes teared up. The Mozambique woman and others had received the stoves as part of a program run by Washington, D.C.-based Sequest Capital, a producer of carbon credits, specialized investments that some of the world's largest companies buy to offset their planet-warming emissions. The company distributes stoves that it says are more efficient than traditional campfires, reducing the amount of wood burned and protecting users' lungs. The company calculates the reduction in emissions, turns that into a commodity, and sells it to companies which then claim their operations are contributing less to climate change. 12. Taiwan and Germany. RAWSEP View. The putative solution to PM 2.5 pollution put forward here is to plant trees, among other solutions, which are physical barriers to existing air pollution. This article calls these physical barriers such as vegetation. RAWSEP View. It is better not to burn wood in the first place, and therefore circumvent the predictable PM 2.5 air pollution of wood burning emitted to the air, already overloaded with PM 2.5 pollution from traffic. RAWSEP View. It is better to use electric vehicles rather than use gas-powered vehicles, which produce health-denying PM 2.5 air pollution as well. From the research paper abstract and conclusion. A review of urban planning approaches to reduce air pollution exposures, request PDF ResearchGate PM 2.5 and 38 to 62% of PM 10 concentration variations. The models demonstrate good accuracy with low RMSE values. PM 2.5955, PM 1027.49. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates of 501c3 nonprofit organization. Abstract purpose of review. With only 12% of the human population living in cities meeting the air quality standards set by the WHO guidelines, there is a critical need for coordinated strategies to meet the requirements of a healthy society. Recent findings. Successful urban planning can help reduce air pollution by optimizing city design with regard to transportation systems. Physical barriers such as sound walls and vegetation must be carefully selected. Trade-offs often involve balancing effectiveness, cost, aesthetics, and environmental impact. To address the costly issue of sound walls, a potential solution is implementing vegetation with a high leaf area index or leaf area density. This alternative is also an effective method for air pollution reduction with varying land use potential. Ultimately, emission regulations are a key aspect of all such considerations. Author information. Authors and affiliations. First author. Department of Industrial Engineering and Engineering Management, College of Engineering, National Tsinghua University, Hsinchu, Taiwan, Dongying Lin. Second author. Institute of Transport Planning and Road Traffic Technische Universität Dresden. Dresden, Germany, S. Travis Waller. Third author. Department of Environmental and Occupational Health, College of Medicine, National Chung Kang University, Tainan, Taiwan, Mingyang Lin. 13 PM 2.5 and pregnant women. Smoke from wood fuel harmful to pregnant women. General News, PeaceFMOnline.com. PeaceFM Online. He said prolonged exposure to smoke from charcoal and firewood could increase the risk of low birth weight and infant mortality.